Hey everyone, Walter Bowne recording from the back of my Sorento. Chrysanthemums. You have to understand there's so much going on here. She's 35. She has no children. Her art is her gardening. And she is probably better at farming than her husband, but it's the husband and the men in the suits and the tractor, and they're the ones in control. She's corralled in a wire fence as if she's cattle herself, as if she's kept. And her husband Henry, well-meaning, sees her flowers not so much for her art, but wow, you should do the orchard and make apples because your apples, big apples, could make us a lot of money. So he sees her art in a monetary form. And so her costume, she wants to be or appear to be a man, to live in a man's world. But she's not a man, she's a woman. And it takes this stranger who recognizes, right, her art and is interested, but he's only interested in order to get what he wants. So in a way, it's a bit of a symbolic rape, because he smooth talks her and she gives him her most prized possession, right? Chrysanthemums, and he's only using it as a sales pitch. He realizes he's a con man. The guy's a con man. He's a salesperson, and he knows he's not going to get anywhere with her. And then finally, he sees what is most interesting, that she's most interested in, and it's the chrysanthemums. And he uses that. All right, I once had this friend, Jerry. He says, if you find where a person is vulnerable and you hit that part, you'll get whatever you want. He did this with women. He says, my secret, and I never knew how he, dated women. He was, crazy guy. But he says he just exploits their weakness, which is that's not what you do. But a salesperson, a con man, will exploit a person's weakness or a person's fear, and realize what he does. He's this big guy, and the more he talks and the more he's interested, the more she just gushes about these chrysanthemums, and she takes off her hat, right? She lets her hair down, and there's a lot of sexual imagery in the story. The blades cutting into the earth and the water, and filling up the ground, and the deep cuts, and her terrier fingers going through the earth, and there's this raw sexuality to Elisa that her husband does not recognize. He's shocked when he comes in and says, you look pretty nice, and why are you so shocked at this? She's all pissed off at him, and he does not realize what has happened. And at first she's transformed by this stranger, and oftentimes it takes a stranger to discover something about ourselves, and what she discovers at the end makes her really, really angry, because now she's been wearing these gardening gloves, but now she wants to use the gloves for a fight, and she wants to see blood, and she wants to compete in a man's world, and can probably do it better than anyone. But that's not a woman's way of life, or you wouldn't like that. That's for women, says the traveling salesman. I always think of this traveling salesman as sort of like a guy from this prairie schooner from Wizard of Oz, who comes in and takes, Dorothy, he's the wizard. But of course the guy he's a good guy. This guy, he's a con man. He's out to make a buck. And that's why you have to watch out for salespeople like this, whether they're the sweet-talking guys or women. I don't want to be sexist here, but they play on the vulnerabilities. All right, so this woman has this art, it's not being recognized, and then he just throws her prized possession, right, symbolically her virginity, onto the ground, and then leaves. He just wanted the pot. He could care less about the flowers. And that whole story about the customer who wanted chrysanthemums, that was a lie. That was a total lie. He just wanted money from her, right? And then what he took from her was far greater, right? And she's crying at the end like a weak old woman, right? And she's just humiliated, right? So the story has a lot of power. A lot of imagery. She's closed off, she's isolated, and you know, all the stories we've read this year so far with women in isolation, this is a very common theme, and I'm not just picking these because I want this theme. This is a theme that women, and this is Steinbeck writing, that we see time and time and time again, especially in the 19th century, early 20th century, when women really didn't have many options, right? So hopefully you enjoy this. Take care, and I'll hopefully lecture next time better with better lighting. Take care. Bye.